morning, everyone. It's really good to see you. Thanks for coming out. How are you all doing on this sunny Tuesday but cold? Everyone doing good? All right. So I've got my coffee with my powdered mushrooms keeping me healthy going on today. And I brought a lot of decks. I think I have about 10 decks here. So, and some that I don't think used before. I felt like I had to bring the Life Purpose deck this morning. I've got a Fairy Oracle, Romance Angels, so maybe someone is wondering about their love life. Magdalene Oracle, Universal Love, those two are my favorites. I always bring them. Rumi, Divine Guidance, which is the fractal one, and I have Angel Tarot and Regular Tarot. So does anyone want to make a suggestion for the first deck? Can be anything. No? All right, well then I will pick the first deck, but then after that, I'll see if you guys request anything, okay? Oh, angels. Tina wants the angels. And the life cards. The fairies. Okay. Okay, so I'll get the fairies. Life. Okay, so let's start with fairies, because they're right next to me. And I've got a couple people who want fairies, which are good. Earthy cards. So these are the... Oh no, I didn't pull the fairy cards. I started shuffling Life Purpose. I'm on to fairies now. Okay, here we go. Yes. Alright. It's funny because I'm in a little tiny house in Dundas, and on one side of me, my neighbors are completely ripping apart their yard, which is amazing. It's a lot of work. And then my neighbor on the other side, I think, is completely rebuilding the inside of his entire house. So I'm in between all this construction. All this change and upgrading. Okay, so for those of you who are new, there's lots of different ways to read cards, but what I'm doing for the Tea and Tarot and the trailer is I shuffle them and then I fan them out, and then I pick whatever one jumps out at me. So this is the one for today. Okay. And I also sometimes don't always look at the words at the bottom, but the words jumped out at me. It's called New Location. So if you can see the card here, it's a lot of blues. There's some butterflies, a fairy kind of sitting there. Looks like she's thinking about life. So for me, this card, the new location, doesn't necessarily mean a new physical location to me. I think this card is asking us to start to think about a little bit about our future, because I know for a lot of us we've been put in this pattern of almost being stuck with, some of us aren't working, some of us are working too much, the kids aren't in school, you know, a lot of things are up in the air, and it's hard to plan for the future or think about the future when things are chaotic. But this card is asking us to start to think about that. Think of that new location. Think of that future place that you'd like to be, even though you're not there right now. Where do you envision yourself in the future? Because right now the future really is an open book. So to start to think about and give some time to think about, where do you want to be? That's the best time to create things for your future, when your life in the now is wide open, basically. So some of you have more structure than others in your life. You might not be able to pick up and move across the country, let's say, but it's starting to ask you to dream a little bit bigger than you have dreamed. You've got these butterflies here, and the butterflies are about complete transformation. So it's about living the next part of your life very different than you have the first part of your life. Okay, so the transformation, it can be physical transformation, it can be mental, emotional, spiritual transformation. It might be transformation in the way you think about life, where you thought you'd be in your life, where you want to be, how you want to be. So it's very much about dreaming that dream of what you want to become in your future. And it could be a small change that you make, or what this card is suggesting is that it's quite a large transformation. It's a complete metamorphosis. So start thinking about those things now while you're in quarantine, where you'd like to be in the future, where you see yourself. Does this card is suggesting that's a good place to put your energy right now. All right. Thank you for the fairies. Moving on. You know what, guys, I'm going to do life purpose because they're jumping out at me. So, and I shuffled them by accident thinking they were fairies. So we're supposed to look in this deck. I never use this deck. I think I got this deck from a friend. We do deck trades. If you have a lot of oracle cards, you might want to do that too. Hey guys, to everyone who's just joined. If you have a lot of oracle cards like I do, sometimes it's nice to get together with friends and do a trade. Okay, so this one is drawing my attention. And travel, well, this makes me laugh, right? Because we can't go anywhere right now, but it says your life purpose involves traveling. Yay! Who doesn't want their life purpose to involve traveling? So I'm just gonna shut my heater off. Sorry, I was wondering why it was so hot in here. I left my heater on. Anyway, okay, so traveling. You know, maybe when it does open up, we can go wild and go traveling. But I think this is about physical traveling, but also about we don't have to always pick up and move to travel. Like, we don't always have to. Sometimes it's nice to go to a new location and go on a trip and learn about new cultures and new places. And I love that myself. I take groups to places every other year because I love that. But sometimes you don't have to leave the comfort of your home to travel. And one way that we do travel, all of us, is at night in the dream time when we're sleeping. We're always traveling, we're always doing things. And also when we daydream and you're just thinking about things in the future or the past, you're traveling. Your physical body isn't traveling, but your consciousness is traveling to those places. And as you have those memories of what has passed or the thoughts of what's to come, your body's reacting the same way as it did when those events actually happened. So even though your physical body might not be in the place, you're still having the experience. So whether this travel card speaks to you in terms of actual physical travel or more spiritual travel, it's still saying that we need to do more of it. So I'm going to take this as a sign that as soon as the borders open up again, that I'm supposed to hit the road. Thank you, Life Purpose cards. Okay, so welcome everyone who just joined. I think we should, I feel like universal love is calling. Love this deck. It's got really nice trees on the back. I go to Glastonbury quite frequently, and I actually got lost in the woods one time and found a tree with a heart on it. It was really special. So these cards remind me of that place. Miracles. Nice. All right, so a lot of light in this card, a lot of dark in the front and the light coming in the back. So whenever I pull this card, it's about good things are coming, because I often pull this card for people when they're coming out of a dark time or a depression or something that's happened in their life that's been very challenging. And then this card is always saying to them, don't worry, you're through the end of it, the light at the end of the tunnel, literally. New things are coming, fresh things are coming. You might not be able to see them or feel them yet, but they're coming. So hold steady. If you're having a difficult time lately, just keep going, one foot in front of the other. Things are going to get better soon. We're already starting to see that. We're starting to feel a little bit of a shift moving in that direction. So absolutely. And a lot of pure potential in this card too. So similar to that first card that I pulled where I talked about that change and that transformation and start to think about where you want to be in your future. A lot of people have trouble with that when they can't make plans. They're like, well, Kerri, I can't think about my future because everything's up in the air right now and I can't make plans. That's actually the best time to start thinking about your future and what you want, because in that chaos where things are not defined and feel crazy and ungrounded, that is where you create. It's very difficult to create any lasting change in your life when you're stuck in a structure of your life. So for good or bad, or for better or for worse, we're in this quarantine situation, and it's thrown us into chaos to a degree, but it's also thrown us into a huge opportunity for change. And you don't have to use the opportunity for change here. You can take a pass on it. That's fine. But for some of you, this is the opportunity to really look at things and start to focus on where you want to be, how you want to be, how you want things to go for when you come out of this, and start taking baby steps in that direction. Because the energy is supporting that right now. It's kind of like, okay, you've had your pajama time, you've had your Netflix binging, you drank all the wine and used all the toilet paper. Now let's think about your future and what do you want to do in the future. You can do more of this, or where do you want to be when the world starts to open up again? So start thinking about that stuff, guys. It's really, the energy is supporting us in that. And we're coming into spring, which is a beautiful time of year. Spring is all about planting the seeds of what you want to create this year. Okay, so the winter time is about dreaming, about what you'd like to see, and then in the spring we're actually putting the seeds in the ground to plant what we're creating. The summer is when everything comes into fruition, and then fall is when we harvest and look at what worked, what didn't, what do we want to bring forward into the future the following year, and what do we want to leave behind. And so the fall is all about sort of assessment and letting go of things. The spring is about, let's just plant all these seeds and see what happens, right? So you can plant a couple seeds or you can plant 100. It doesn't matter. I'm all for let's plant all the seeds, and then as the plants pop up, you can decide if you want to keep it going or not. Because sometimes you don't know. Sometimes when we think of our future, we can only dream what we've already known. We have trouble getting outside of our box of what we've already done. And when you want big change in your life, you have to get outside that box. So plant all the seeds. Say yes to all the opportunities. Start projects in all directions. It doesn't mean you have to complete them all, but just get that energy moving. Use the energy of spring that we have now to help assist you in that. It's creative time, guys. The projects might not all come to fruition, like I said, but at least start them. At least start thinking about them. It'll also wake your energy up. And if you're having a really hard time with basic stuff, then just do the typical spring cleaning. Clean out a junk drawer or a closet. That will get the energy moving. That will help you let go of things you no longer need to create space for some of that awesome stuff that's coming. Because the energy is shifting. All right, let's go with, you know what? We're going with romance angels. I don't know, guys. Love is in the air. We'll see. All right. This is for some of you. I don't know. I'm not going to think it's for me, but who knows? It might be. You never know with this deck. It's a crazy deck. All right. So we're in the romance angel deck. Oh, all kinds of cards. Okay. This one. Wow. Okay. Calling in your soulmate. So for some of you single people out there, your soulmate's out there, they're coming, but you have to call them in. So how do you do that? Well, it's sort of the same process that we were talking about earlier about what you want to bring into your life in the future. The best way to do that is to start daydreaming about how you want to live your life and how it feels. You might not be able to see what your soulmate looks like or know their name or see where they're coming from or get a timeline on it, but you know kind of what you want in a relationship. You've probably had enough relationships in your life. Even if you haven't had romantic relationships, you've probably had enough friendships, family relationships, that you know how you want to be treated. You know how you are in relationship in terms of affection, what you need in a partner. So yeah, it's time to call in your soulmate. I suggest doing some meditating and maybe some journaling. And I'm doing a guided meditation Wednesday night, and I hadn't had the topic for it yet, but maybe we're supposed to call in our soulmate. I don't know. So yeah, exciting things are happening. It's spring, so some of you are going to love is coming. So focus on that. All right, let's do, okay, this is a new a new old deck, really old. I've probably had it for 15 years. And let me just grab the book for it. It's called The Book of Angels. Okay, and there's no author. Oh, Angela McGurr. So you can see the author here. Oh, this way. Okay. So it's like 3 decks of cards. There's some with gold wings, some with silver wings, and then there are these cool little ball ones, like circle spheres. So the idea is you pull one of each. So I'm going to shuffle them and then randomly choose one of each of these cards. And they have words on them, so it's pretty straightforward. Each of these little cards has the message right on it. They don't have different pictures, so I'm just going to kind of smush them around the table, which is another way to shuffle. Like, there is no right way to shuffle. You can casino shuffle your oracle cards. You can smush them all over the floor. It's your way. There isn't any right way to work with the cards. I kind of see the right ones light up. Like they have a little glow around them. And that's how I know which ones. Okay, so message from the Golden Wing Angel is that love will find a way to solve all. Which really is true. It always does solve everything. And then this one's about learning the secret power of metals. So that's interesting. Because metals do have properties just like crystals do. They mean different things. I'm not really that knowledgeable about metals, but maybe some of you are getting into jewelry making or working with metal. This message might be for you, or maybe it's for all of us. But yeah, interesting. So I've never pulled that one before. And then this one is, the key is the caduceus to balance both gold and silver. Interesting, because gold and silver are metals. So it might not be a physical metal. It could be an energetic working with the silver and gold, which is balance. In Peru, they associate the silver color with the moon and everything feminine. So silver, when they're making despachos and doing other ceremonies, the silver is the moon, the feminine, the female energy, Pachamama, and the gold is the energy of Father Sky, of the Apus, of the masculine, of the mountains. So it's interesting. They believe that you have to have balance between the both, which you do, the masculine and feminine within yourself. And in this case, we're seeing it symbolized by metals. So working with gold and silver. So maybe if you do healing visualizations, to imagine both those colors entering your body, healing your body. I use a lot of gold in my meditations, not always silver. So this is interesting. So I'm going to try the other one today. Also, we've had a full moon recently, and I don't know how you found the energy with that. I really enjoyed this full moon, but the moon is that silver energy, that feminine energy. So I think this metal message is about us balancing that feminine and masculine within ourselves. And the feminine is typically more of our intuitive side, and we all have that, our intuitive, sensitive side. And the masculine is about taking action, usually, and moving forward, doing things. It's very active energy. But we do need to combine the two, because if you take action without having that receptivity and intuition and sort of tuning into what action to take, sometimes the action you take ends up being, you know, your energy's misplaced, or maybe your timing is off, or maybe it's not the right action that you wanted to take. And again, if you have too much intuition and you're meditating and doing all those things, and your energy's really being held in, but you're not creating any of the ideas you have, and you're not moving forward in your life or engaging your outer reality, that's an imbalance with your masculine energy. So we do need both. We're meant to dream and have our quiet, intuitive time and go within, but we're also meant to interact with our outer reality and the people in it as well. So to have that balance. So I think this is reminding us to have that balance, because the key is the caduceus, and the caduceus, for those who aren't familiar with it, it's a pole with two serpents going up it and facing each other, and then wings at the top. it's a symbol of perfect health. It's a symbol of enlightenment. It's when all of the energy is moving up that center core, your essential energy system. All of your chakras are open and all of the energy is sitting here. And then you have that, the wings open, like you have that enlightenment moment. It's actually the logo of the Kundalini Reiki program for that reason, because it's a symbol of perfect health and enlightenment. So that's the key for this. So using those masculine, feminine energies, using the gold and silver to help you connect to them for balance within the body. All right, what shall we do now? How about the Divine Guidance cards? Ooh, one just flew out. Okay, so whenever you're shuffling, always kind of check the card that flies out, because it might come up again. That happens often in readings for people. They're shuffling, cards fly out, we put them back in the deck, and then when we pull the cards for them, very often it's the exact same card. So, also too, if you've hopped on late and you're wondering what the heck we're doing tea and tarot in the trailer. It's every other Tuesday, just for fun while we're quarantined. And it's available live for 24 hours on the story. You just click the live button, you can rewatch it. And then I try to save it and put it up on YouTube so that those who can't join in can watch it later. I'm very new to technology, so I've learned a lot in the last couple weeks. I'm still learning, so have patience with me. I will do the Magdalene cards right after this one. I love them too. Okay, so we've got Divine Guidance. These are fractal cards, so they all have different images on the other side, not really words. So I'm going to just randomly pick one of these, and this is the one that's jumping out. And really interesting, there's a lot of love energy today coming out, because I had to bring the Romance Angel cards. We pulled the Soulmate card, which is about thinking about your perfect partner and putting the energy out to the universe for that. And then I just pulled this Radiant Heart image with all of the colors of the energy centers. We were just talking about that, finding balance within the body. And for me, like, all of the chakras are very important. Like, they all have their place and they all have their energy, and we need all of them. But if I had to pick one that I felt was the most important, I'd say it's the heart. Because for me, the heart is the bridge between two sets of chakras. Like, you've got your first three that are very connected to this earthly plane and this plane of manifestation and things that we actually like physically have. Once you hit the heart, then you start getting into the upper chakras, which are more about that unseen world and the invisible, our intuition, and the things we feel energetically, not necessarily physically. So we need both. We need all of them. But the heart, to me, is the bridge that allows us to connect with the upper and the lower, and they meet in the middle. So if I had to pick one chakra to focus on or heal or to keep giving energy to, it would always be the heart, because by focusing on this, it allows you access to all of this. This is the gateway. Otherwise, you just stay down in these energies here, and you're always in power and control, pain and suffering. That's where you're hoarding your toilet paper and worrying about physical things in life. Because it's all about, if I have all this stuff, then I'm safe, which is an illusion. And once you get into the heart and higher, then your energy expands outside yourself, and you realize you are just one drop in a large body of water, and that we're all connected, and that what you do to yourself and what you do to others, it's the exact same thing. So once you're in that heart, then you're really operating from a place of love and compassion. And I talked about that love and compassion last time, that it's so important. And especially the self-compassion, because this quarantine, I feel, has been a gift. And I was calling it the retreat a couple weeks ago, because I feel like we're on a spiritual retreat we've been forced into. But self-compassion is so important, because as some people that I've been talking to have been really hard on themselves, and they're like, I've got this time off, I should be doing all of these things, and they're not feeling energetically up to it. They just need rest. And I'm like, just tune into your body and do what you need to do for yourself right now. You might need this time to rest. Maybe you've been going crazy for the last 10 years and you haven't taken a break. And so this entire quarantine time, you are resting and not doing much of anything, and that's okay. And for other people, this has been their time to do some creative projects that they didn't have the time or energy for before because their life was so busy. So it doesn't matter how you're spending this time. This time is for you. You can be in pajamas the entire time, okay? And eating ice cream. I ate cookie dough for dinner last night, like a barbarian. I would never eat like 20 cookies, but I ate enough cookie dough that would have made 20 cookies. And I'm not proud of that. It wasn't one of my better spiritual moments, but sometimes you just have to eat cookie dough with a spoon and be all right with it, okay? So I forgave myself. I can't get into my pants, but I live near a really big hill that I could start running up any day. So I'm just saying, you have to have a sense of humor too. We're all in this crazy time. We're all dealing with it very differently, and differently on different days. Like I have days where I wake up and I'm like, this day is great, and I'm like getting so much stuff done, and then other days where forget about it. So have a sense of humor with yourself, have some patience, have some understanding, have compassion for other people. They're losing their minds. Like someone might yell at you for no reason out of the blue, and you can hate them forever and never talk to them again. But we need to kind of understand that everyone's crazy right now. You're crazy, they're all crazy, we're all crazy. So just be kind. Heart. Stay in the heart. When you stay in the heart, your energy is calm because you trust. You trust that you're held and you're safe in the universe. That the Earth Mother, Father Sky, the Creator, whatever you want to call it, is not going to toss you out. You wouldn't take your child and throw them off a cliff. Okay? So we're being held by the earth and by all the energies that love and support us. We're safe, whether we feel it or not. But when your energy is in the heart, you feel safe. And when you feel safe, you have more energy to kind of help other people and be of service. When your energy's low and you're in fear and panic and chaos, you can't think about anyone else. You can't help anyone else. If you're ever really depressed or really anxious, you're managing your stuff. You can't think about the rest of the world. So we fluctuate through our energy centers all of the time. Sometimes we're in a high frequency and we're able to give and give and give and give and give and still feel okay at the end of the day. But if your energy's low, that's when you need to kind of go within and recharge your battery and not be out there trying to save the world. That's when you take the oxygen mask to yourself, just like in the plane demonstrations where they're like, you take oxygen, then help other people. Otherwise, if you don't and you're helping them get their mask on, you're going to just fall over in a dead heap. So it's about self-care, but it's also about remembering that this is the bridge between everything, and to cultivate this space is really important. And last month I did a guided meditation into this place, and it's available on the website if you guys want to try it. It's about 40 minutes long, but the reason I want to talk about it is we kind of entered the heart as though it was a room, which is kind of a weird thing to do. But I got so many emails from people saying they were really concerned. They're like, oh my God, I went in there and it was like this dark, horrible place, or there were spiders or cobwebs. It was like an attic room that had never been lived in. And I was like, that's okay. Keep going back to it. Clean it up. It's okay. It's just showing you kind of it's a bit neglected, and that's all right. So if you do that meditation and you do find scary things in there, don't worry about it. Just keep going back. Tidy it up just like you would a scary room in your house. And eventually it will feel lighter, it will feel better, and you'll start to feel the outer effects of that in your life. But anyway, so heart card. Okay, Magdalene Oracle is next. I've said this a few times. I love the artwork on these cards. Tony Carmine Salerno. I don't know, I just really resonate with it. I go through phases with my cards, but I really like the artwork. And this is a great deck. I love this deck. We all have our favorites. This is always a favorite for me. Oh my gosh. I have a cover on my trailer, and literally the wind just kind of blew most of it off. It kind of freaked me out there. Sorry. It's funny. All right, this is the one. Okay, so the word on the card is intimacy. We've got a lady there by herself. So you could take this card in many different ways. But for me, to have intimacy with someone, really, to me, intimacy is about connection. It's not always physical. You can have physical intimacy with another person, and that's great. But for me, real intimacy is not physical. It's more of a soul level thing where you feel 100% safe with another person, and then you're able to share everything with that person without fear of judgment, without fear of being hurt. You can be just vulnerable with them. To me, that's what true intimacy is with a person, or with yourself even. It's about being deeply honest with yourself. It's about going in and looking at all of that stuff, even the stuff you don't want to look at, and being okay with it, being safe with yourself, not judging yourself, you know? So this card's asking us, I think, for a deeper level of intimacy. And whether you're in a relationship and you want to cultivate that with the person you're in a relationship with, or whether you're single right now, you can cultivate a deeper level of intimacy and honesty and truth with yourself. And then when you do meet that soulmate, like the card we pulled earlier, then you'll be in a place where it's a bit easier for you to share on that level with another person. How we are with ourselves is how we are in relationship. If we're not feeling safe in our own skin, if we're not feeling safe with who we are, we have trouble sharing on a deeper level with another person. You know, like we go through life, we've all had times where we've been hurt, we've all had times where things haven't gone our way, and each time that happens, we get another layer of protection. And so when we meet someone, it takes some time before those layers melt away, and so it should. You know, we shouldn't meet someone and be like, hey, come on in, you know, like, you don't know who they are. You wouldn't let a stranger in your house. You know, you have to get to know someone first. So, but the more you know yourself and the more you've worked through some of those things, the more able you are to meet someone in that place. So even if you aren't in a relationship right now, this intimacy card is about you going deep within yourself to kind of cultivate that. It's really important. And it's also, all these messages are for me too. It's not just for you. So, and it's funny, because I do tune in to get my own messages, and I have times where I don't want to talk to my guides. Like, I've had times where I've ignored them. I've been mad at them for whatever, just like you'd get mad at a friend. And I remember years ago I had a client on my table who was very intuitive, and she was getting messages for me because I had cut my guides off for 2 weeks. I was like, I don't want to hear it. And so she started getting messages from them for me. So then after that I was like, I can't escape. So now I try to tune in, but if I don't, then they will, I think they're using today a little bit because I haven't meditated in a few days. So I think they're like, hey, Kerri. All right, let's do Rumi. This will be our last deck for today, because Rumi, to me, is all about that energy of passion and love, and not just romantic love and passion, but for life, like for being here, being in a body on the planet. It's freaking hard being in a body on the planet with emotions and all of those things. I mean, guys, come on, right? Sometimes you're just like, why did I say yes to this nonsense? But it's also beautiful because, you know, yeah, the lowest you've ever been, that you've ever felt in your life, like think about the lowest moment you've had, you've also had the highest moment too. So until you've known real despair, you're not going to be able to know what real joy is. So, I mean, it's the good with the bad, right? But it is a bit of a roller coaster. So, but we are all in it together, and I think sometimes we forget that and we feel really alone, especially right now, isolated. I know we can connect over the internet like we are now, but we're not alone, guys. You're not alone. There's always someone, and sometimes you just have to reach out. You have to be the one that does the reaching out. Because I think I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, was saying they felt really alone. You know, no one was reaching out to them, and I'm like, well, maybe you need to be the one to be reaching out to people right now, because you can't make assumptions about what people are going through. Maybe they're having a hard time, even if they're usually your strong person and they never have a hard time. They might be having a bad day. You just don't know. So never assume you know what's going on in someone else's life. It's usually wrong. All right, commitment. Interesting card. You can see all of the colors here. She's actually like reaching one arm up, to the energy. It's almost like she's bringing it down or creating it. Commitment. And the word is what jumped out at me first in this card. I think this is about making a commitment to our creativity. And I'm not talking about running out there and becoming an artist. I'm talking about your creativity and what you're creating in your life and what you want to create. It's what we talked about at the very beginning of our reading, is that we need to take responsibility. We have more power in our lives than we think. Yes, sometimes things are out of our control and we're sort of picked up and moved on the chessboard of life, but you always have free will and choice within that game, you know? You always choose what you do with what you have. So even in the situation we're in, you get to decide. You get to decide how you use that energy. And the universe is asking us to commit, not necessarily to one another, but I think to ourselves, our path, our passion, and what we want to create. Commit to it, even if it means just taking a baby step towards it, okay? You might not have the energy to undertake a big project right now, but if you get an idea for something, just write it down and save it for a later day. That's still committing to it by writing it down and thinking about it. So allowing yourself to have a little bit of time every day to get creative or do something physical, whether it's gardening or cleaning out a closet or going for a walk. We need to move our bodies. That helps get our creative energy flowing. That helps get all of our energy flowing. So even if it's something really, really small, like making cookies out of the cookie dough instead of eating the cookie dough, right? Or something really big, like I mentioned my neighbors doing a lot of renovating. They said I could have their bricks. So I was like, okay. So I've been moving bricks every day, like little by little. I have a lot of bricks in my backyard now. Like if you looked at them, you'd be like, holy cow. And I look at them and I'm like, I moved all those bricks. Not all in one day, but I did it. It looks crazy, right? So I'm pretty proud of myself. I'm very sore, but I'm proud of myself. So now I have to do something with the bricks. We won't go there. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that you might not see the full end of the project, but just trust your intuition, trust yourself to take some baby steps towards that. Because right now, guys, in this chaos, in this energy of I don't know what my future is, this is when you create stuff. This is when you lay it down in energy into the quantum field. We are building an energy right now. We are laying this scaffolding for what's going to be in form in the future. Okay, so you are the engineer, you are the builder. We might not be building it with solid materials yet, but we're building it in the mind and energy. And while you're building it in that way, you can change it really easily. But use this time to start a journal, a dream journal, dream of your future journal, your perfect soulmate person that you envision for yourself. Use this time to start journaling, creating, thinking about it. Doesn't have to be words. You can do an image. You can draw a picture that represents what you want to bring into your life and hang that somewhere in your house. Or a vision board if that's your thing. To me, vision boards are just too big. I don't have room for that. So I like to draw like everything I'm creating in one symbol or picture and put that somewhere. So every time I see it, I'm like, that's coming. So, sorry, someone was reading my gas meter. I'm like, there's people all around the trailer. What's happening? Did you see them? Okay, it's crazy chaos in my driveway today, honestly. At the end of this, I'll show you guys the madness that's going on outside. So commit to yourself, okay? Even if it's just a tiny thing over the next couple of weeks. I don't know, tomorrow night I'm doing a guided meditation live on here on 9:30. I don't know the topic yet. It'll probably be something about what we talked about, maybe something with a soulmate or maybe just getting creative. I'll think of it, or if you have something that you need help with, just pop me a message. I'm always open to suggestions. Anyways, it was great, guys. It was, I love these mornings. It's keeping me sane, getting to connect with all of you virtually, because otherwise it's just me and my cat, and he's getting a little pissed off with the squeezing and the over cuddling. He's not a cuddly cat. I'm trying to turn him into a lap cat, but anyway, still trying. But I love you guys, and yes, I'm just reading some of the comments. It is a good time to vision board if that's your thing. If vision board's not your thing, because for me, I would look at the vision board and get impatient, and I'd be like, it's still not here. And then that would just energetically tie it up even more. If you have a box, like it could be an old gift box or one of those frame boxes, the wooden ones with the hinge lid, you can have a box and then just write on the top of it whatever is contained in this box is, and then put all your stuff in there. So instead of having it on a vision board, you just tuck it in the box, and as soon as it's in the box, you're like, it's coming, and then you forget about it. Because part of bringing stuff into your life is to put it out there, but then to forget about it. Because if you're thinking about it all the time, you just kind of hold it up energetically. But all right, okay, have a great rest of your morning. Enjoy the sun. Hopefully it won't snow today. And start thinking about the seeds that you want to plant, either physically in your garden if you're having a vegetable garden, or energetically what you want to create for this summer, this fall, this year. Start thinking about it. Start meditating on it. Get excited about it. You guys should feel excited about it. Go for a walk and think about it. Combining movement with this stuff is great. But your soul, there will be some excitement about it, okay? It's not going to be like, oh, I want to create this. No, you'll be like a kid on Christmas morning. You'll be like, yes, this is the thing, you know? Like, I want to learn how to sail boats. I mean, the marinas aren't open, but as soon as they are, I'm going to take sailing lessons. I don't know why. Am I too old for this? I don't know, but I'm excited about it, so I'm going to do it. Stuff like that. All right. Good. Jenny, I'm glad you're excited. Get excited. All right, guys. I love you all. Be good. Be happy. Be safe. See you soon.